I know what you're thinking right now. There's not enough Colin Cowherd in my life. I hear it every day from my family. Listen, if you want more, subscribe. My takeaway on what we watched last night, it was a tremendous win, I thought, for Mac Jones. Believe it or not, you can win while losing early in your career. I thought Mac Jones in a monsoon with that pressure was fairly remarkable. In fact, I think if you went back and watched Tom Brady in his first year, I don't think he was as good as Mac Jones was last night. He was under control, audibling in and out. Can you imagine the pressure of facing Tom Brady in the stadium in which he won all his AFC championships? He was cool, he was calm, he was smart. I thought it was a complete bravo performance by Mac Jones. I've seen Brady do this 100 times. We all have. But here's an interesting thing to consider, is that can you win with Mac Jones, i.e. Tom Brady, and that lack of weapons? I don't think you can. I don't think Tom Brady, in today's game, if he was Mac Jones, with the dearth, the lack of weapons New England has, you have to play perfect football. And the Patriots played really good football, but a fumble here, a doink on a last-second field goal there, and you lose at home to a Tampa Bay team that didn't play particularly well. Is that what has happened in football is that there are so many dynamic young quarterbacks. The coaching is more dynamic. The wide receiver talent is so dynamic. Just look at the AFC, what Mac Jones and Belichick will have to get through. Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. That's just in the AFC. We all know, we all acknowledge the hole that has surfaced in Belichick's later years is the inability to draft and develop skill people. Jacoby Myers is their go-to receiver. He's undrafted out of NC State, and he is often their primary target. And you can be an imperfect football team, but in 2021 and going forward, you cannot be slow. I don't believe the Patriots, with this current system and style, with Mac Jones, who himself has a highly efficient game at a lower ceiling, I don't think it's championship football. I mean, as Chris and Al said at the end of last night's game, Tom Brady now has more wins at Foxborough than Mac Jones. And we're in October. So it is interesting as the sport has really changed. And we see this in basketball. It's a three-point shooting game. We see it in baseball, where the ground ball is death. Strikeouts, everything's exit strategy. In the NFL right now, between the rules, the manipulation of the rules, the altering of the rules, the offensive playmakers at quarterback and wide receiver, Belichick's style, though brilliant, feels a tad outdated. Am I alone on that? I thought Mac Jones played as well as you can play. I think we all would admit he has one of the lower ceilings. I think he'll reach his potential much more quickly than a Josh Allen. I think 12 to 15 games in, you're going to kind of see what Mac Jones is. And he played very well last night, considering the immense magnitude of the game. But I sat there and I watched it and I thought, can you win a championship on 12-play drives? Excellent defense, solid special teams. I think you could 20 years ago. I think you could 10 years ago. But I think it's harder and harder to do that. And I think Brady, at one point when they were talking about how good Jacoby Myers had been, I thought he's the reason Brady left and the reason Mac Jones has a ceiling. Jacoby Myers. Where would Jacoby Myers fit on the Rams? He wouldn't make the team. I'm not sure he would make Tampa or Kansas City or Dallas or Buffalo. Would not make the team. Chargers. Raiders. You just start looking around the league right now. The game has changed. It's played at an exhilarating pace. I mean, I'm watching some football this weekend, and watching last night, did it not feel at times like a 1996 football game? Let me pivot to a few more games, and I want to start with the perception of coaches in the National Football League, two who I think are very shrewd, but are getting clobbered. Kyle Shanahan and Matt Nagy. So Kyle Shanahan gets to a Super Bowl. Not only that, but with Jimmy Garoppolo. Matt Nagy gets to the playoffs twice with Mitch Trubisky, who we would all acknowledge is a backup. Today, they look overwhelmed. They're being criticized. Are they the right guy for the job? Why? Because both Matt Nagy with the Bears and Kyle Shanahan with the Niners came into the season with a veteran quarterback who they didn't truly believe in and a young quarterback who's talented, a Trey Lance or a Justin Fields, but not really ready to win week after week and be consistent at the NFL level. Look at the coaches we're questioning today. They got rookie quarterbacks, or they have old quarterbacks about to be replaced. And look who's winning in the NFL today and who we think more of as a coach. Cliff Kingsbury, take that for example. Cliff Kingsbury got fired in the wobbly Big 12. He couldn't win at his alma mater. They fired him. Alma maters do not want to fire their star quarterbacks as coach. He had Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback. He could not win in the Big 12. I repeat, the Big 12. And now he is crushing it in first place in the toughest division in the NFL, the NFC West. Why? Third straight year, talented quarterback, same system, augmenting him with pieces. Josh Allen, third straight year, fourth year, same system, augmenting him with pieces. Lamar Jackson looks good, right? Same system, augmenting him with pieces. You see a trend here? The coaches that we really are fond of have really high-end quarterbacks, and they are Tom Brady now, coming back, same system, second year. All of a sudden, I'm supposed to believe Brian Flores and Joe Judge, the Dolphins and the Giants, can't coach? I think they're both excellent coaches. But Miami has a quarterback issue, and the solution's not in the building. And Daniel Jones yesterday played one of his better games. So Joe Judge wins as a touchdown underdog on the road. Before you want to fire your coach, A, it's really hard to win in this league. Really, really hard. And B, the coaches that we think fondly of this morning, star quarterbacks, usually in their second year in a system. Dak Prescott now, second year in Mike McCarthy's system. Boy, he looks really good. I mean, 8 teams in this league have quarterbacks who are either really not very good or not the future. That's Kyle Shanahan, right, with Jimmy Garoppolo. Another 6 or 7, they have kids that just aren't ready. And then you have kids who are on their second or third system. So just look around who you like today. And I think Cliff Kingsbury is a great example of same coach, same quarterback, same system, augmenting in pieces. Lamar Jackson, same coach, same system, augmenting him with pieces. They both hit it out of the park yesterday. Those teams on a roll. Speaking of Kyle Shanahan, before I move on, at some point, Kyle, and I'm defending him, right? Got to start winning games. You can tell me how great your stockbroker is. 3 years, you're missing on stocks and picks. I'm going to have my doubts. I don't think he's had a great season. It shows the difficulty of coming into a season with shared snaps at quarterback. But right now, they really look out of tune. That's with Deebo Samuel. That's with George Kittle. They look really out of tune. So I do feel there's a little pressure right now on Kyle Shanahan. He's got to start posting W's. Let me shift to this. I watched some of the Cowboys-Panthers. I tried to really dial into the Giants and Daniel Jones in the early hour. But one of the things that I think is really true in this sport is that everybody knows, listening as I talk about the Cowboys here, that coach and quarterback really drive the sport. And we have our questions about Mike McCarthy. But there are certain defensive positions that really, once you solve them or get a star at that position, it can change everything. I was not a fan of Pete Carroll giving up 2 first-round picks for a safety in Jamal Adams. That is not, to me, a position group that is crucial to be elite at. Look at the Cowboys' defense, though, now today, with Trayvon Diggs, the second-year cornerback, who is a spectacular talent. And I mean spectacular as in maybe one of the top 2 or 3 corners in the NFL. There are games he looks like the best. Look at the advantage of having a Trayvon Diggs for Dan Quinn, the Cowboy defensive coordinator. They're not even healthy on defense yet. You can take away the other team's number 1 wide receiver. You can put him on Carolina's DJ Moore. It doesn't matter if you're going to put him on Kenny Golladay when they face the Giants. Put him on Terry McLaurin of the Washington football team and just case closed for the day. I think Diggs is such a sensational, remarkable, game-changing talent for the defense of Dallas. Put him on an island. Don't have to worry about him. Take away their best perimeter weapon and then drop my other 10 guys to figure out the quarterback situation. But right now, Dallas is a better football team. I had them in the playoffs. They're a better football team than I thought. They pushed that Carolina Panthers defense around the field for a lot of that game. And once that Cowboy offensive line is healthy, Zeke and Tony Pollard both have a burst now. Zeke, I think, the last couple of weeks has played well. This is a good Dallas football team. It's a fast, rangy, athletic Dallas football team. And right now they do, although I still think Washington, the better days are ahead for that football team. They're not playing very good defense now, but I do trust Ron Rivera, and I do think their defense will get better. Taylor Heineke's kind of a gamer. He's not a great talent, but he's a gamer. But cornerback, it's what Belichick spent so much of his time trying to master. It's what Nick Saban has spent so much of his time in Alabama trying to master. And by the way, it's what Pete Carroll is struggling with in Seattle right now. He's got a good football team. They're really, really bad at corner. Something else I want to touch on. Buffalo looks like the best team in the league to me for 2 reasons. Josh Allen's a remarkable talent, and they have shored up over the last 2 drafts and free agency periods their primary weakness, which was defensive line and pass rush. But to show you the parity in this league right now, who is the second best team in the NFL? You don't trust Kansas City's defense. Green Bay offensively is getting better, but not quite clicking. They needed one of the best passes of the year by Aaron Rodgers. They were in jeopardy of losing against the 49ers. Tampa's defense isn't buttoned up right now. The Rams played yesterday like Brady and the Buccaneers at SoFi was their Super Bowl, completely flat. I got to tell you, Buffalo's the best team in the league right now in terms of the ability to make plays on offense and defense. I think it's Arizona. What is really exciting about this league right now? I know we pay a lot of attention to Aaron Rodgers and Brady. I know we do. Look at the quality of the young quarterback play. Not only that, it is so diverse. Lamar Jackson doesn't play anything like Josh Allen, doesn't play anything like Kyler Murray. Daniel Jones, I thought, played really well yesterday. The quality of quarterback play in this sport right now, a couple years ago, I had lunch with an NBA general manager, and he said, football's dying. And I said, 2 reasons it's not. Number 1 is we gamble on it. It'll never go away. And I said, number 2, the quality of quarterback play is getting substantially better. And the league is going to become safer. This was sort of in the throes of all those CTE stories 2-3 years ago. And I said to the general manager, I said, we don't bet basketball like we do football. And the rule changes are now helping offense so much. And the quality of the quarterback play, it is sensational. This league is being taken over. I mean, Aaron Rodgers at times looks outdated, right? Like he doesn't move like he used to. Kyler, Lamar, Josh Allen, Mahomes, Justin Herbert. And then you have this second group of really good veterans, Derek Carr, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. Ben's pretty much shot, and Brady's got a couple years left. But the NFL is going to continue to be in great, great hands because of the quality of the commissionership. Yes, Roger Goodell makes this league safer every year, and the insane level of quarterback play at the high school and the college level. And now that the NFL is borrowing and implementing college schemes, The game's more fun to watch than it's ever been. I sit back and I look at the talent, and it's jaw-dropping. It is just jaw-dropping. And because of the salary cap, even the very best teams, like the LA Rams or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mean, Tampa's defense, JPP got hurt, not the same pass rush. If a Jalen Ramsey or an Aaron Donald was hurt for the Rams, it's not the same defense. It is so razor thin right now. You know, in retrospect, the game I should have put in the Blazing Five was Seattle over San Francisco. Russell Wilson's never lost 3 straight games. And you just had a feeling, you could sense it early in the third quarter, Russell Wilson was simply going to will his team to a win. That one I probably missed on. Seattle is very top-heavy. Highest paid linebacker, highest paid safety, biggest cap hit as a quarterback, really bad in the secondary, very iffy on the offensive line. But when you've got the human eraser in Russell Wilson, this is like LeBron in his peak. He just erases bad personnel decisions, bad coaching decisions. I mean, Russell Wilson had 2 or 3 plays in that game that saved Pete Carroll's butt. Just saved Pete Carroll's butt. I also want to touch on the Cleveland Browns win over the Minnesota Vikings. And a lot of people on social media, Colin, you got to bury Baker Mayfield. He was terrible. Yes, he was. But the 2 things to remember, for the Cleveland Brown organization, to go on the road, beat a pretty talented team, Minnesota, in a tough place to play, when your quarterback is god-awful, that is a stepping stone for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, my takeaway was, yeah, that's what good teams do. Their quarterback stinks, they play poorly, and they beat a pretty talented team on the road. That's a great stepping stone. Listen, I'm not going to beat up on Baker Mayfield for having a bad game. Everybody has a bad game. Aaron Rodgers, week 1. Josh Allen, week 1. Tom Brady, 4 of them last year. I've never put Baker Mayfield in the top 10 class. So I'm not holding him to this great 16-week, 1 bad week performance. He was awful. He was skittish. He's starting to sail things now. He was high on a lot of his throws. And I've said this before. He and OBJ, he and Jarvis Landry work. He and OBJ don't. I can't figure it out. It just doesn't work. Maybe OBJ ad-libs too much on the routes. Baker then, loses sort of a feel for it. Jarvis Landry's perhaps a better route runner. He's got a better relationship, a closer relationship. They work through it at practice because Jarvis and Baker are fantastic. OBJ and Baker aren't. But I thought the Cleveland Browns going on the road, Baker had one of his worst games in the last 2 years, probably his worst game in the last 2 years, and winning? Vikings got players. And let's be honest, what we really worried about this year from Cleveland was their defense. They had 7 new starters. Back-to-back weeks, pass rush was excellent. And so, you can't get too precious in this sport. A win's a win's a win. You don't worry about what they look like. I mean, Belichick and Brady won a lot of wet, soggy, cold Foxborough football games on Sunday night, 26-23, and they just had 2 penalties, no turnovers. And in the end, you said, yeah, I guess they're great. Doesn't matter. Just win. Cleveland won on the road. Baker was pretty awful. Huge, huge step for the Browns.